Hey everybody, it's Lisa. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about needle felting. I'll show you just a couple of basics to get started, and there's lots of different kinds of needle felting, but I have found that just working with dry wool and flat designs is the easiest way to get started, and you can make some really fun embellishments that you can incorporate into greeting cards, scrapbooks, artist trading cards. There's just all kinds of great things you can do with the pieces that you make. So what needle felting is, it's a process of taking a special kind of needle with a foundation, and what you're doing is you're using the needle to punch wool, roving, it's called roving, pieces of wool you're punching into a piece of felt to create a design. So in this case I created just a little heart with a couple different colors. I'll talk to you about how you can use yarn instead of roving to get more detailed lines. And then you can also add in regular embroidery stitches to accentuate different parts of whatever images you're making. What I love about needle felting is that you can be whimsical and abstract, or you can be more realistic. It's completely up to you. So the tools that you need, first you need some sort of a foundation to punch into. Clover makes this brush. It comes in a couple different sizes, and it's a nice sturdy foundation. You can also use a piece of upholstery foam. That works real well. Just something that's deep enough and dense enough that you can poke your needle into safely. You need a needle. There's a couple different kinds of needles. There is the single needle that looks like this, and the way that these needles work is at the very tip there are these really tiny barbs, and the barbs actually lock the fibers together and create a bond between the wool fibers and your felt foundation. You can also needle felt felt to felt. You can needle felt wool to itself for more three-dimensional things. So as long as it's fibrous and nappy, you can generally lock the fibers together with a needle felting needle. They also come in a punch needle like this that has 5 needles built in, and it has a springy punch action that allows you to cover more area at once, and it gets the wool flatter against the felt. You can work a little faster that way. They also have needle felting machines that are just like a sewing machine, and that's where you can do very large surface areas quickly. The single needle is really nice for guiding your wool into place and then getting it where you want it and then punching it. You can also punch up and down with a single needle, but it can be a little tedious, and it is kind of difficult to get through an entire design that way. But the single needle is really great for three-dimensional needle felting, where you're creating little animals or little doodads, and you're basically felting the wool to itself. So what you want to do is lay your felt foundation on top of your brush or your piece of foam, and I started here with a kind of a little leaf. I have this wool foam that's really got a lot of nubbies in it that's kind of fun, and it's kind of a two-toned teal and green color. It's really fun. And then I have some pale caramely brown wool. And so what I did was I combined a little of it, and really all you're doing is starting with a piece of wool, and depending on the shape you want to create, sometimes it helps to kind of form it into the shape with your hands, so kind of a teardrop shape for a leaf, for example, and set it down where you want to start punching. And then you tap it down in a couple of places just to get it stable, and then you can kind of play with the shape with your single needle to make sure that you like where you're going with it. And then you can punch it down some more and get it flatter. So on this one I started with a little bit of green, and I will tell you that I feel less is more when you're needle felting. Start with less wool and add more in as you go. You'll have a lot more control over the coverage and over being able to blend colors like this. So I started with a little bit of green, and then I added a little bit of brown, and then I streaked some more green over the top. So like up here, for example, I don't like that I have so much brown up there, so I'm going to take some green, and I'm just going to kind of roll it around in my fingers to kind of get it kind of contained to the area that I want to punch, and then I'm going to punch. And now I've just covered up a little of that brown, kind of disguised it a little bit, and given it this nice kind of more streaky effect. So to me it just looks a little more interesting. So that's the basics of it, and underneath what's happening is the fibers from the wool are being forced into the fibers of the felt, and they're sort of locking together. Now it's not permanently locked. You can really give this a good tug and pull it up, and that's kind of what's nice about needle felting, is that if you don't like where you are, you can pull it right back out and start over again. And so it's very forgiving, and it's really easy to learn for that reason, I think. So you can basically imagine creating a bunch of these leaves and really assembling a really beautiful flower. One other thing that I like is using yarn. Any yarn that is interesting to you that's kind of nappy works really nicely on the needle punching as well. And so you can basically just lay it down, get your punch, and punch it into place. Okay, and so that's all I wanted to show you. It's just that easy, and I think it's really fun. I think the punching is therapeutic, and it's an easy craft to do while you're talking. It's a very social craft. It's very portable. It's really easy to carry a few things around with you. It's easy to do while you're watching TV. It doesn't require a lot of accuracy. You can be as loose or as precise as you want, and you can have a lot of fun with it and blend colors together and have a good time. So that's the name of that tune. Catch you later. Bye.